problems, we have what are called composite figures. And what that means is we've kind of got a couple different shapes mashed in together. So in this, it's like we have one big rectangle with a smaller rectangle cut out of it. So if we're cutting it out, that means we're going to subtract it. So in this, we kind of piece it together. We figure it out. So we have 15 and we have 30. So that's going to give us the area of this piece. So we have 15. So we want the big rectangle is going to be 15 times 30, which is 450. And then we have the little rectangle. And I like to draw pictures just because it keeps my mind organized. And that's going to be 8 times 10. So length times width. So 8 times 10 is 80. So since this piece is cut out of the shape, we want to subtract it. And when we subtract it, we get 370 millimeters squared. All right, and then looking at this one. So the two shapes we have here, we have a triangle added to a rectangle. So we need the area of the triangle and area of this rectangle. So if you think back to the area of a triangle, it's going to be base times height divided by 2. So we have our base right here, which is going to be 8 because it's the same as that base. So 8 times our height of 6 divided by 2 gives us 24. Then we have length times width. So that's 8 times 10 gives us 80. And since they are on top of each other, they are put together, they are added together. We are going to add these together. So it's 104 meters squared. Let's look at another one. So in this case, we have a rectangle, and then we have something tricky. We have half of a circle added up here. So for our circle, we need area of a circle. So area of a circle is going to be pi r squared. So 5 is going to be the diameter, so we want half of it, which is 2.5 squared times pi, which will give us 19.63. But we only need half of it because it's half of a circle here. So what we need to do is we need to take 19.63 and divide it by 2, which will give us 9.815. So that's this half circle, the area of the half circle right there. Then for the rectangle, we just have length times width, which is 8 times 5, which will give us 40. Then if we added those two together, we would get 49.815 centimeters squared. So composite figures is just about kind of figuring out what shapes to put together and just kind of puzzle piecing them together. So whether you need to subtract it, whether you need to add it, what shapes are there, and then looking at your formula sheet and seeing what formulas you need to use. So go ahead and try these next ones on your All right. So the first thing you should have done is gone through and figured out what shapes you have here. So in this case, we have a triangle. that's been cut out of an entire rectangle. So if it's cut out, we know we're going to be subtracting. So for the triangle, we need base times height divided by 2. So this is kind of tricky, and I wanted you to kind of take some time to really think about it. So the base of the triangle is going to be up here, which is going to be the same as this bottom piece. So it's going to be 4. So base is 4, and it gives you the height over here. So this question kind of required you to sit and really look at the picture, really look at what it's giving you and what it's asking for. So this should be 4.4 times 2 divided by 2 will give you 4. And then the rectangle is going to be 6 times 4. So 6 times 4 equals 24. And we're subtracting, so we need to subtract the triangle from the rectangle. So that'll give us an area of 20 meters squared. So that one was kind of tricky, but I wanted you to try it because I wanted you to really kind of sit there and look at it. So in this next question, we have a rectangle here with a smaller rectangle cut out of it. So again, we're going to be subtracting. So we have the big rectangle, and the small one. Again, I like the visualizations. It helps me. So I like to draw these pictures when I do composite figures. So we have 13 for one side, and then we kind of don't know this side. But if you look here, we've got a piece here and a piece here. So this entire piece is going to be 6 plus 7. And 6 plus 7 will give us 13. So we have 13 times 13, which gives us 169. And then here we have 7 times 8. So 7 times 8 gives us 56. And we want to subtract these. So when we subtract, we get 113 meters squared. These two were tricky. It requires you to really sit there and think about what they're asking. What kind of shape is this? What other shapes is it made up of? So let's go ahead and look at these two. So these ones we're going to have shapes kind of added together instead of subtracted. So in this case, we have a triangle on top of a square. So we have the triangle, we have the square. So the triangle is base times height divided by 2. So our base is going to be 12 times a height of 5 divided by 2, which will give us 30. 60 divided by 2. And then this one we have 12 times 12. So length times width is 144. And then since they're kind of mashed together, they're added together. So we're going to add these two areas together, which would give us 174 meters squared. Same process as every time. I know I've said that multiple times in these lessons, but it really does help you to be following the same process each time. So again, we have a triangle on top of a rectangle. So we have the triangle, we have the rectangle. So base times height divided by 2. Our base is 6 times the height is 3 divided by 2. That will give us 9. And then we have 5 times 6, so length times width, give us 30. So we have 30 plus 9 will give us 39 centimeters squared. All right, and that'll be the end of Unit 13.